Hi friends! Today I'm here to teach you some more information about two-dimensional shapes and three-dimensional shapes. You guys have been doing such a great job these past couple of days learning more about these different kinds of shapes and their attributes. So today we're going to be doing some practice questions on 2D and 3D shapes. You're going to listen to me explain and think through the first three questions, then you will try the next three. So let's go ahead and get started. Before I model the first three questions, I'm going to need your help filling out a chart on three-dimensional shapes. I know that some 3D shapes have different faces made up of 2D shapes, which is kind of cool. So let's fill out this chart together. As I fill it out, I would like you to be thinking along to see if you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. It says to drag the correct shape to the box in the chart, then type in the number of edges and faces each 3D shape has. So I see my shapes here, the name, my number of edges, and my number of faces. It was really cool to see your Flipgrid videos yesterday and the 3D shapes that you guys found at your houses. Let's look at our first shape. I know that's a sphere. It has 0 edges and 0 faces. Kind of depends on who you're talking to with the number of faces. I've heard a lot of people say 0. I've also heard a lot of people say 1 face because it's just all the way around. I'm kind of an in-between. It just depends because most times you think of a face as a flat surface. So it really just depends. I put 0 for this one, but you might hear 1 other times. Let's look at this next three-dimensional shape. This is a cone, like a birthday hat or an ice cream cone. I'm going to drag the word cone over. Now I know a cone doesn't have any edges because it doesn't have points where two flat surfaces meet. So I know that a cone has 0 edges. It's kind of interesting. I also know that a cone has 1 flat face. Let's look at our next three-dimensional shape. This is like the one I had in my video, a cube, like a dice or a Rubik's Cube. I'm going to bring it on over. A cube is really cool because it's made up of all two-dimensional shapes, squares. So I thought that's pretty cool. The amount of edges that a cube has 12 edges. 12 of these places where the sides meet, or the faces meet, I'm sorry. It has 6 faces. My next three-dimensional shape is a rectangular prism. It's very similar to a cube, however, the only difference is, oops, been a little tricky for me. Go ahead and drag this over. Is that a rectangular prism is not made up all of squares because the sides are not all equal. The edges for a rectangular prism, there are 12 edges and 6 faces. My last three-dimensional shape on this chart is a pyramid. Looks very similar to a cone. A cone has a circular base while our pyramid has a square. I'm going to go ahead and drag our word pyramid down to the bottom. And I know that a pyramid has 8 edges. So there are 4 going all around, and then there are 4 on the bottom. I know that a pyramid has 5 faces. So because it's made up of 1 square, that's 1 face, and then for each side of the square, there's a face going up. So that completes my chart. I hope you guys agree. Now that I've filled out my chart, I'm ready to model some questions. This is an I do, just like in class. You're going to watch me think through solving these questions about shapes. Then you're going to try the next slide. Let's look at question number 1. What object would you trace to make this shape? Now this is a rectangle, so let me think this through. If I were to lay one of these things down flat on a piece of paper, which one of these would give me this shape? Let's look at A. That's a cylinder. A cylinder is made of 2 circles and then it connects in the middle. I know it can't be A because if I laid that down, I would trace a circle. B. I'm thinking it most likely is B because this is a rectangular prism. So I know it's made up of rectangular faces. I'm going to hold that in my brain. Now I might think it's C if I'm not careful. All of these, this is a cube which is made up of all squares, all equal faces. This is not a square, so I know it can't be C. And D, seriously? I cannot lay that piece of pizza down and get a rectangle. I'd probably just eat it. I wouldn't even trace it anyway. I'm going to go ahead and bring my circle down and circle B. Let's look at the next one. Which figure has 4 faces? This one is actually really interesting. Some of these I can get rid of really easily. I can get rid of sphere. This one only has 2 flat faces. Goodbye. And I know a cube has a lot of faces. I think it has 6. Now this is interesting because this is not a regular pyramid made of a square. This is actually a triangular prism, which is different than what we saw on this chart. This has a square as a base. So it has the 4 faces coming up and 1 on the bottom. That makes 5. This is a triangular prism. I know a triangle has 3 sides, so that means 3 faces coming up plus 1 on the bottom. That gives me 4 faces. Let's look at the shapes. Which shape is a quadrilateral? Quad. That number comes from the word 4. Quad and 4, kind of like quarter, like you need 4 quarters. Quadrilateral means it is a polygon with 4 sides. So let me see. This is way more than 4. Goodbye. I know this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a hexagon. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it might be shape B. I think that's a trapezoid flipped upside down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's a pentagon. That's not a quadrilateral. It doesn't have 4 sides. This one only has 3 sides. So it must be shape B. Drag this guy over here. Cool. Now my answers are complete. I agree with my thinking. Now it's your turn. When you go back to your e-class, you'll see a link to this activity. You are going to try thinking through these questions. Remember the vocabulary we have learned the past 2 weeks. So you're going to use all of the helpful tips I've given you to answer your questions and turn this assignment in when you are finished. Good luck, everyone.